Hello. Here in Davis, California, it rains so infrequently that we just set up pianos right in the outdoors and ask strangers and nearby dogs to come give them a try. Why not play a piano that's been set out for everyone? I'm here at Farmers Market Park, colloquially called, also called Central Park, here in the city of Davis. You can see I'm under this beautiful awning. This awning is here because sometimes, but not in the summertime, it rains. It's obviously not raining right now, but once I was teaching a class, and it was a first-year seminar called Journaling Our Long Walk Together. I will say more about this class in future videos. And we were enjoying the class where I tour the east side of campus, and then we walk downtown, including towards Central Park. But then, of all things, this was winter of 2024, it started to rain. You can see we've got bright evening sunshine right now here in August, but it started to rain. So my students and I, we made a run for this beautiful awning, and I realized that Californians, they are not used to taking classes while being rained upon. I guess that's true for most of us, not only Californians. So I huddled the students under this awning, and I had to curtail my tour of downtown Davis because it was raining so hard. And I gave my students their writing prompts, but we still had another half hour's worth of class. So I told my students that being under this rain reminded me of a poem by Dana Gioia. So I had a student in this class whose name was Gema. She was a first-year student, as is typically true of these first-year seminars. Hello. Just fine. And so Gema said, "Dr. Andy, could you recite that poem to us from memory, please?" And I said, well, Dana Gioia, if he were here, could recite that poem from memory. You might know of Dana Gioia, a retired businessman who then later went on to become the chairman of the National Endowment for the Arts. I visited him in 2004 in Washington, D.C., while he was chairman of the NEA. We met for lunch. I offered to buy his lunch, but he reminded me that he'd have to fill out all sorts of paperwork because it would be a gift. So we each bought our own lunch. We got salads, and he was concerned, rightly so, that I was not getting enough protein in my diet. Hello. So he gave me the hard-boiled egg from his salad. Isn't that nice? Dana Gioia, what a stand-up guy. He later became poet laureate of not a city or a county, but an entire state, the state of California. And as California poet laureate, he visited every single county, even Colusa County, which is right next to Yolo County, the county I'm in. He visited every single county as poet laureate and gave a reading in each one of those counties. Not every county has a meeting house that's perfect for a poetry reading. He went to a lot of libraries. I'm now walking into this beautiful play structure here. I was going to stop by the new splash pad park that you might be able to see in the distance over there. But there were too many children playing. And the only children I try to film are my own. So Dana Gioia, he would memorize all of his poems. And so I've introduced him. This was not 20 years ago when he was chairman of the National Endowment for the Arts, but 25 years ago. I met him in 1996 when I was working on my dissertation. I've had a chance to introduce him both at a reading here in Davis, well, on a number of occasions, because he's read for the Poetry Night reading series, and when he gave a talk at the San Francisco Writers Conference about 10 years ago. And because I knew Dana so well, and he has sent me most of the books that he's written over the last 30 years, I was able to do a good job of introducing him. Let's see if people actually stop at these warning lights. They sure are. Thank you. Thank you, Davisites. The lights are flashing. So my student, Gema, she said that she wanted me to recite from memory this poem that I brought up in conversation. And I said, Dana Gioia could do that, Gema. I can't. But I do have this little computer here in my hand, and no doubt I'll be able to find the poem. Now, normally I'm careful about reading poems that are not in the public domain, but Dana Gioia is a good friend of mine. Have you checked out his YouTube channel? It has on the order of 100, maybe 1,000 more followers than mine does, and he talks a lot about poetry. I have it bookmarked. I'm a subscriber. I also encourage you. Here's a call to action. The YouTube gurus say that I should fill the ends of my videos. I'm nowhere near the end. Heavy sigh of relief from every viewer. That I should fill the ends of my YouTube videos with calls to action. So here's my first call to action. Go and subscribe to Dana Gioia on YouTube, and then find him the video. There's a video of him reciting from memory this poem, Summer Storm. And although I was not able to recite it from memory for my students, I was able to find it online at danagioia.com. Summer Storm, a poem by Dana Gioia. You have to imagine me reading this during a downpour while under that awning over at Central Park here in the city of Davis. Summer Storm. We stood on the rented patio while the party went on inside. You knew the groom from college. I was a friend of the bride. We hugged the brownstone wall behind us to keep our dress clothes dry and watched the sudden summer storm floodlit against the sky. The rain was like a waterfall of brilliant, beaded light. Cool and silent as the stars, the storm hid from the night. To my surprise, you took my arm, a gesture you didn't explain, and we spoke in whispers as if we too might imitate the rain. Then suddenly, the storm receded as swiftly as it came. The doors behind us opened. The hostess called your name. I watched you merge into the group, aloof and yet polite. We didn't speak another word, except to say good night. Why does that evening's memory return with this night's storm? A party 20 years ago, its disappointments warm? There are so many might-have-beens, what-ifs, that won't stay buried. Other cities, other jobs, strangers we might have married. And memory insists on pining for places it never went, as if life would be happier just by being different. That was Summer Storm by Dana Gioia. Gema was my student in that class who was the most memorable because she was the most talkative. She also took every occasion when we stopped and I asked for questions, and because I teach classes that are student-centered and activity-driven, well, I do ask questions. Gema always had a question, and her questions started with, "What's your favorite?" Young people from her generation, this is how they break the ice. They want to know what your favorite thing is. I remember once I was asked this question. This was subsequent to Gema because I've had an occasion to interact with a number of young people. And the young woman asked, "Dr. Andy, what's your favorite color?" And I started to say purple and to tell a story about Prince and Purple Rain, but then I thought better of it. And I said, "My favorite color is the brown of my wife's eyes." She said, "I like that answer." Well, thank you to Gema who took my class. Thank you to Dana Gioia, who has written memorable poems about memories that do not fade, very much like that poem for me. And thanks to every student who enrolled in one of my first-year seminars. I'm teaching one this fall. I'm looking forward to it. It's called Dr. Andy's Victory Lap. I've got one more lap around this university, one more year. And with this channel, I'm counting down the last 365 days of that year. I'll be retiring on July 1st, 2027, and I'll get to teach at least one more first-year seminar, hopefully with students like Gema. If you enjoy stories like this one, well then thank you so much. Give this video a like to let the algorithm know that some stranger, like the stranger who took the speaker's arm of the poem Summer Storm, was intrigued enough to stick around for a little while, even a little while, and to say, "I like that." And if you're really convinced, you might subscribe. My name is Dr. Andy. This is Diary of a Quizmaster, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.